The hour, so I think we can go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to our September Acumatica webinar. We have a new special guest with us today, so we'll do a couple of introductions and some housekeeping items as well. Jeremy with Velixo will be leading us through most of the presentation today, so we'll get to hear from him. A couple of housekeeping items before we get started. If you have any questions as we go through the presentation or demonstration today, please feel free to drop them within the chat. We'll be monitoring those, and then if it's relevant to answer those at the time, we'll go ahead and do that. Otherwise, we'll have a bit of a Q&A session at the end. So with that, I think I'll go ahead and pass it over to Jeremy, maybe give a brief introduction, and then we can go ahead and get started.
Thank you. So yeah, let's get started. In terms of just my background, so you have an understanding, I have about 15 plus years just in reporting alone. So working with like SAP, Infor, Microsoft. So really the whole idea here is that, worked with a lot of different types of reporting. So really want to be able to kind of help you along with your your current and your future reporting needs. And then of course, as you work with SVA or are already working with SVA, you've kind of built up kind of what you have in terms of your foundation, in terms of what you have within Acumatica. And really, we're just here to kind of help you along the way with the reporting end of things. So we're going to show you how that all kind of joins together today. But I'm going to power through this. There's a lot we have to go through today. So I'm going to go through some quick slides. Again, thank you all for joining today. So first and foremost, we are an Excel addict. So number one, I'm not taking away your Excel. You're able to keep your Excel just as you normally would. Second of all the data that you have within Acumatica, you're able to put that within Velixo. So you're able to utilize that. Third part of that is you're also able to write back that data. So if you have kind of scenarios where you're looking to forecast, you're looking to have those what if scenarios, you can do so. So you can do that with, say, budgets. You could do that with, say, journal entries. We also have this kind of handy way, and projects, of course. We also have a generic write back, which is very handy in the sense that you can create your own import scenarios that you like. So anything to your heart's content. So that could be like sales orders, purchase orders, price lists, which is very helpful. But that's kind of the gist of it. As we kind of move through this, and just so you know too, I mean, you can see all the little badges on here for G2, and we are the #1 rated solution on the Acumatica marketplace. But again, you can test that out yourself. But from here, you can see this is kind of the summary that I just talked about. So keep in mind that this is just GL data that you're able to utilize. You can use this with AR, you can use this with AP. You're able to go in and use this for inventory, generic inquiries, so the GIs that you may have, which of course we all know it's like tons of information. How do you filter that down and do that so it's not programmatic? You can actually go in and instead of using like SQL queries, you could just use our functions to do so. Sales commission reports. I'm just naming a couple just so you have an idea. Then you can kind of move into how you actually want to distribute the reports. So you can do that internally, you can do that externally, you can do that in whatever flavor you like. So that could be, Excel with Velixo. You could take out Velixo and just have plain Excel. You could have PDF, screenshots, what have you. But you can be very specific in terms of how you distribute this. Again, we're looking to save you time. So let's say you're on the finance team, you need to distribute these reports to all the managers across the United States. Well, you can easily do that and send out that specific report to those people. And of course, you can filter even more if you need to. It's very easy to do. So how does this look from an IT perspective? Well, again, we are an Excel addict. This isn't something where you're really, going in and driving home full implementation. This is more of a change management because you're just changing the way, of course, how you use Excel. It's a 30 to 60 second download, done. In terms of the users, unlimited. So everyone can consume it within the org. And then when it comes down to security, what you're looking at is all the access and permissions are controlled by Acumatica. So it makes it simple for you. You don't have to do any extra work. It's going to be mirrored within Velixo. Of course, you don't want a guy like me who's in sales writing back data. Super bad idea. So keep that in mind. So these are some of the pain points that we do have. I bring this up because it's just for more of a conversation piece, and maybe this will be some of the questions that you have at the end. Again, we're looking for outliers as well. So really, we're trying to save you a lot of pain and suffering when it comes to kind of that manual process. So really creating that library of reports that you can kind of recycle and reuse as you see fit, that's what we're aiming for. Again, things that I'm going to talk about consistently through the demo, templates and drop-down menus. Drop-down menus, again, make it very easy top to bottom within your org to be able to send out reports so that you don't have to kind of constantly be like, okay, I need to show you how to like fix this and adjust this report. I hope everyone can handle drop-down menus. I'm not trying to give everybody grief, but I hope you can all do drop-down menus. So the biggest step that we do have that is very key is the ability to make sure that you don't have siloed data. So you've got that truthful data. That piece is handled by the API that we have, and that is that joint link that we have between Acumatica and Velixo. So you're going to get, again, truthful data, what I call Excel with accountability. Again, we've got all these listed here, but we're going to go through them. I mean, if you want to have multiple companies, divisions, departments, branches, you can do all that. It's very easy to filter that all out so you can cover every aspect of your business. Everything is live and refreshable. So the big thing that always comes up is, what's the learning curve? So when you look at the learning curve, if you already are proficient with Excel, it may take just a couple days, and then you can actually build out some powerful reports. So how do we kind of help you out in terms of making you successful? Kind of have two buckets. So we've got one where we've got that self-serve bucket where you've got tons of resources. There's almost too many. So there's like samples, there's templates, all sorts of that for you. We also have 100 videos on YouTube as well. And then there's kind of the hand-holding bucket. So there's kind of like the training, if you need like additional help in terms of report building, SVA is always there to kind of help you along the way to kind of get that done and get that accomplished. And really, you're really looking to probably leverage that kind of at the beginning for sure, just because you're probably going to have a set number of reports that you have today, and you may want to convert them. It just accelerates that and also that learning process. So sandwiching that all together, you've got the ability to leverage support as well. So then you're covered in that aspect. Okay, enough talking about that. Again, here's the game changers, pretty much what I've talked about just now. In terms of our customers, we have over 2,000 now. We're completely industry agnostic. To give you an idea of scale, KFC is on there. We have 150 locations, 50 tenants. So if you have multiple tenants, that's totally fine. If you need to have like a sandbox environment, there's no extra cost for that. You also notice that Acumatica is on there as well. So one of the things that always comes up is, okay, Acumatica uses it, but what happens if they have patches, new versions, what have you? Well, we're always up to date because of course they're utilizing our product, so that's always a bonus. So yeah, so that's some of our customers, and I'm almost done talking about these slides. We are at the end of this, so we're going to go into the demo now. To give you an idea of the ROI on the solution, you're typically looking at about 3 months. Less than 3 months is kind of what you're looking at. Okay, we have this last slide. We're going to go back to this one later on, but for right now, I am just going to get out of this and where is my minutes? Oh, now you get to see my browser. Or I think I'm out. Second. Just swapping screens here. Bear with me here. Okay, here we go. Should now see this. See it, Excel? Okay, perfect. So this is Excel. I've kind of redone this just because we do have a lot to cover today. But really what I wanted to show you was just kind of a simple trial balance and how easy it is to kind of create this. So what I had actually done within here, and again, this is just Excel, and this is what the ribbon of Velixo looks like. You do have the ability to do like a smart refresh. You have a full refresh. Smart refresh is only going to refresh what you've done since you last logged in. You have the ability to drill down, so you can drill down into that first layer, but all the way into Acumatica as well. So I'll show you what that looks like. I mentioned those write backs. They're right here. So journal transactions, budgets, projects, and generic write backs. We're going to try and cover all of that today too. We've got all these tools and we've got help. So what have I done to start here? Well, the biggest thing is this would just look like regular Excel. The difference is that I've actually created a connection here, and that's what this looks like. So it's easy to do this. What I'll do is I'm going to actually remove this and just add a new connection. It's going to be the same one, but I just want to show you what this looks like from the screen point of view. So I'm just putting in my name. It's demo. I'm going to put in what my tenant is. Again, this would be yours. And then I'm just going to put in here a company. And then what am I doing for my username and password? Again, this is just what you would do for Acumatica. You could do remember me, you can push connect, or you can do this single sign-on. Single sign-on, we have all the instructions on our website to do so. I'm just going to connect. You're going to see this is going to just connect very quickly. So you can see the green cloud is showing that that is a true connection. Now we are connected to our Acumatica tenant. Now, if I wanted to, I could always add another connection here. So let's just say you wanted to add that sandbox environment, you can do so. Add as many as you like. It's completely up to you. So now this is all connected, ready to go. So what I had kind of done with this is I kind of dropped in, I inserted my chart of accounts. It's just a way of doing things instead of doing it manually with all the codes. It would just drop them all in. Again, for the sake of time, I didn't show that. Again, we do have a lot of different functions within here. These are what they look like. You can see them up here. Got account ending balance. But again, the key here is this is raw. I haven't put in drop-down menus. I'm just doing this on the fly. So I've put in some filters at the top. So again, I've got actual, I've got my financial period. Again, if I wanted to, I could have company, branches, divisions, departments, whatever I have that is the same as what I have within Acumatica, I can access that. So if I wanted to, I can easily just go in here and just say, you know what, for this financial period, I don't want this one. I want to go with 11/2019. It's just going to refresh and be that quick. So you've now got that information. Now, of course, we're not going to do this all the time, right? We're going to want more information. So again, we're duplicating everything here. I copied that. What do we do next? Well, I'm just going to go 12/2020, hit enter. Now we've got that. Now, what's the most common thing you're going to probably put in here? You're going to put some sort of variance within here. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I would just do, minus here. I can handle that. Drop that down. You now have that. Now, if I wanted to change this up, and it's just on the fly, I could easily just go up here and just say, you know what? I don't want actual. I want to do budget. So we want to have that classic actual versus budget. I can just type that in. Now we have that. It just drops down. So super efficient, super easy to do. At the same time, I can also put in another column if I wanted to. I could say, this is the budget from previous years. So if I wanted to compare that as well, very easy to do as well. And in terms of manipulating what you want to do within here, again, you'll notice there are some blank spots in here, but really you can hide those zeros if you want to, whether it's for rows or columns. So you have lots of options. So that's kind of a basic way that you kind of put this together, ad hoc. It's just a simple trial balance, like I said. Again, manipulate this as you see fit, add in more filters if you need to. The last thing that I'm going to quickly show you is beneficial in terms of how you can select things. So it's a little different, of course, than Acumatica, is that you can actually go in and say, if I wanted to get certain codes, I can actually go in and create lists with that. So I could just say, add these lists in with semicolons. Very easy to do. But you can also go in and do ranges as well. So if I wanted to, I could put this in here I could say colon 1050, and then now I've got that whole range. You can mix and match what you want to do. You can also go in and use wildcards. So let's say you're starting with the code that we have on the left-hand side, which is 1. I can then put in 4 question marks, because then I can make sure I'm grabbing all of that. But then if I wanted to, I could always just say, I don't want the code 10200. Okay. So just showing you that so you have the flexibility to kind of mix and match how you want to pull things. I'm going to move into some sample templates now that we do have. These are all available. So I'm going to go into this one. So with this sample, and I'm going to send this all over to everyone, so this would be like in a goodie bag, so you do kind of have this. Again, the whole idea is we're trying to create a vision. Because again, this is connecting to my demo data. It's not going to be able to, it's not magical. We can't just connect to your data right away. You have to, it has to be an alignment there. But at the same time, you do have this nice visual to kind of get you started. And it is a starting point. So you can take out Velixo, put in your branding, what have you. So I'm just going to run through these just so you have an idea what they are, and then we're going to dig a little bit deeper into them. So again, here's a P&L, another P&L with 12 trailing months. You've got an income statement. Again, what are you using all the time for your data visualization? Just using Excel, just that simple. Again, you've got cash flow statement here within here. Got a nice little trial balance. Another one, another example. Again, other filters within here. This is where it gets a little bit different, a little bit interesting. So depending upon how you have your budget set up within Acumatica, and within mine, I've got it going to period 13. There it is. And you can also see this right back as pending. So we'll get back to that later. But the whole idea here is that we can now forecast with this. So we've added in some prior years and some forecasts within here. So then when we change this up, we can then write this back into Acumatica directly. So I'll show you what that looks like in a little bit. And the last one I'm going to show you is the distribution list. Again, I've stressed the whole idea of those drop-down menus. Again, here is what it would look like with, say, another template for you. So if I go into my distribution, I can create a new list. You'll see that this is now formulated for you. So why am I showing this to you? Well, you can essentially kind of stack and pack these as you see fit. So you could have ones for those reports that you're sending out daily, the weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever you need to do, or even external. You could have them all listed here. So it just makes it easier and saves you time because you can organize things. You're also able to select whatever you like within here. So it's not just you're doing the whole worksheet. You can actually say, okay, I just want these particular rows. So let's go back into the one that's finished, just so you can see what it looks like and your options. Again, you can save this to drafts, open drafts, send immediately. You can all leverage Windows Task Manager to automate this. It is in our product roadmap to be embedded later this year. Again, you can see all the different formats you can go with. You can add in multiple worksheets if you like. The big thing here, again, like I said, you can get granular with this. So if you want to select a specific branch, you can do so. You can select regions. Again, you can do so. Managers, whatever you want to do, you can leverage within there. So back to this P&L. And as you know, I love my drop downs. So here's an example of it. Here's a branch. You've got all the information here. You'll notice that you can take like service east and west. And if you want to do like a mini consolidation, absolutely you can do that. So if I just say select service east, it's just going to automatically just refresh that super quick. So I'm going to go put this back to consolidated. But within here, you can see you can also include unposted transactions. So for you, so people that are using like POS systems, things like that, that's where it can be beneficial, just so you can see the difference in terms of what you have and what you're working with. So what am I going to do next? Well, typically I would show you that if I was, to take this information and put like a pie chart here, and then I would use the distribution to show you what is live and refreshable, like our definition. So when you actually do that distribution, it would show that pie chart right there and there. So you've got that there. In here, we're going to go switch and go into the drill down. So pick any cell that you like within here, and you can just drill down into it. So I'm going to use this total operating expenses just because it has more data. If I go within here, all I have to do is click on this drill down. There's no input necessary. Once I do that, this is what pulls up. So again, what are we looking at? First layer. So I've got this, now I've got all this data. I can go in and say, okay, well, I want to look at this debit, this expense, 20173. What does this mean? Well, it's in travel, it's in Service East. There's a certain reason why I want to look at this one. So I'm going to hit this view transactions. When I do this, I'm going to go bring this down. I need to log in to my Acumatica. So I'm going to do that. And once I've done this, when you're doing the drill down, it's going to go into your GL, it's going to go into your ER, it's going to go into your AP, whatever it needs to drill down into. This specifically is going again into my AP. So you can see that 20173. You've got that one night at the Hilton. So what's the goal here? Well, it's essentially, again, throwing the salesperson that I am under the bus, just making sure that I have attached my receipt for this. So once this loads up, I now have this. I can then drill down further. And once this loads up, I can then go in and click on this. Now I've got this. And what do we have? Got the receipt. So we know that I've actually attached it. So it's a very easy way for you to find, and I guess, that needle in the haystack, and you're good to go. So let's go into this one more time. Going back. So that was the drill down. And what we're going to do now, actually, we're going to switch gears. We're actually going to go back to that one that we were just looking at. We're going to go into the GIs. So as you know, with GIs, a ton of data. So I'm going into my payables. I'm going into my bills and adjustment. Once I've done this, I can see I've got 214 pages. So that is a decent amount. I'm guessing that you probably have a lot more. So I can go ahead and edit this generic inquiry in the top right-hand corner. Once I do that, I'm now going to have this inquiry title. So what am I going to do with this inquiry title? I am simply just going to copy it. And then I'm going to go into my Excel. And I'm just going to go and put in GI. Now, what you'll see is there's 4 different types of functions for the GI. And then all I'm going to do is just do my connection, drop in that AP bills and adjustment, and hit enter. So what is this doing? So you're taking the GI that we're having here, and we are getting this giant, massive amount of data. So the key is that we now want to take it and make it more manageable, and put it into more manageable chunks, so that we can actually send it to people, and they can then act on it. So I've got a decent amount of information here, as I said. You can see we've got quite a few columns within here. Where do we want to start? So normally you're going to take this data and you're going to do some sort of SQL query to get started, because that's the only way you can really deal with it. So all you have to do within here is start out within this function. So now you'll see there's a filter that's next. I'm going to put a placeholder there. And then all I'm going to do is say vendor status currency. Again, pick whatever you like based on what you need. So what does that do? Automatically truncates the list. So now that we have a more manageable list, I can go right up in the top left-hand corner and just say vendor transit. I'm going to go with status open. So now what I'm doing is creating the filters that I want to leverage. Again, once this is finished, I'm going to put in drop-down menus. So the next thing is we need to put in that filter itself, the GI filter. Again, this is going to do all of the power lifting. Again, we're just putting this in. And then what are we doing next? Well, I'm just typing it away. I'm just mentioning the top left-hand corner, which is the filters. So again, I'm going to go in and just say status, and we're going to do B2 here. So we hit everything we need. So just push enter. Again, this is the thing, again, doing all the lifting for you. Don't have to do any programming language whatsoever. And the final step, so we've done 3 steps in total. We're going to go in here. I'm just going to add the filter in, push enter, and we're done. So now we've got this, and it's all linked in with that filtering that we're doing at the top. I can put pure water in here. And this isn't going to be exciting because it's just one. I'm going to change it to closed. So then you get a little bit more data. So what are we trying to achieve here? Well, again, this is just showing how you can quickly filter things out and pull that information. You can do multiple filters on top of filters. So you're not limited to just this one that I'm showing. The key here is that, let's say you're working with multiple vendors, multiple suppliers. You've got all these SKUs. Maybe you're working with leasing equipment in construction, and you're just trying to like, how do we manage all this? Like, when are the leases coming up? Well, this is an easy way for you to not only have all of the equipment that you're working with, but then you could like segment those, like say for forklifts or bulldozers. I'm just making stuff up. So yeah, you can do that if you like. Okay, so that's the GIs. I'm going to now go back into what we were just previously looking at. And just looking at time, we're doing okay. First and foremost, what we're going to do now is we're going to look at some of the write backs and what those capabilities look like. And then we're going to get in some dashboards and kind of more complex reports. Okay, kind of have to build this up. So when we get into here, I'm going to go in first and foremost and show you a journal transaction. So how does this relate to you if you already have Acumatica, you already existing, what have you? Well, this is going to be reflective of what you currently have. So the nice thing about this, again, nice little templates for you. It's going to save you time. You're going to make less mistakes. Again, fill out the information you need. You have all these parameters. So what is one that looks a little bit more like a working version? Well, that's that budget right back. So if I go within here, same kind of idea, I'm going to use this for forecasting. So we've already kind of looked at this. I'm going to go ahead and change my COGS, my cost of goods sold. So I've got it at 5% for my forecast. So it's at 22 million. Let's get a little crazy because we just love inflation. So let's go to 78. So now we're at 37 million. So how is that going to be reflected now? Well, I can then go in here and I've got, and this is the only thing I'm going to mention, is just the release. You've got yes or no. No just means that it's going to write it back, but it's prepping it in a sense. You're not going right into Acumatica to then say, okay, let's move forward with this. With the yes, it's going to automatically go into Acumatica, and then you could just say, yep, let's move forward and write that back. So I'm going to go with no. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to perform that write back. Again, I'm doing it for the current worksheet. You could do it for select cells if you wanted to, just like the distribution. So let's do that. It's going to be 15, only because I've done this 10 million times. And that should just about be done. Okay, there we go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into here. All I'm going to do is say budget. Then I'm going to do release budget. And now I've got all this information here. So now I can go ahead and release all. You'll see that this is process. If there's any errors or warnings, then I can close this. We're done. Now, who can do this? Only the people that have access and permissions to do so. Okay. So if I go back within here, I am going to go over to the far right, and you'll see that the line is uploaded. Now, if you had selected just specific lines, again, it's just going to show those ones have been uploaded. So again, that's just the way you can kind of put together the budget right back. We're going to get into the projects in the dashboard that I will show in about 3 minutes. But in terms of the generic right back, really want to stress that this is kind of like this could be your go-to. And this is the only additional module that we do have. But with the generic write back, you can select whatever import scenario that you like. So again, I'm going to go in here. These are some pre-canned ones. Like I said, you could have all your vendors, you could have your sales prices, you could have your bills adjustments, you could have sales orders, purchase orders. So let's just say, and even if you wanted to bring in all your customers, you could do that. Or even as you're implementing Acumatica, you can bring in all of your data as well to write it back. So let's just say I'm just going to do sales orders just for fun. So when I click on this one, you'll notice that, again, we have this template. So again, how is this saving you time? You're creating this there's no like wiggle room here. It's like you have to fill this out this way. So if you say had vendors that you need them to kind of fill out information, you could send this to them, they could fill it out. That way you can review it before you actually push it back if you have that authority. Again, you can do this internally as well. You can get people to fill out this information for you, delegate that work. They can then fill it out, send it back to you, and then you can make sure that it's good to go when it's sent back into Acumatica. So again, it's a very clean process. Again, it's also going to help you in terms of time. So again, this is what it looks like. You can also use this. Price lists are the big one too. I really like to stress that one. If you do have price lists, it makes it so much easier to manage that. Um, but again, within here, these are kind of what I call kind of plain Jane. This is what it could also look like. And bear with me, this is specifically for liability insurance. But again, this is how you can set it up. You have that flexibility within Excel to build it the way that you like. So again, put in your branding, things to take in consideration. Again, you're still in Excel. So you can still use Excel like security or lockdowns to leverage within these worksheets. So in here, you could just say, this is the only area in yellow is where you can actually input data, right? Super easy to do. Again, you have that flexibility to build it how you like. Okay, so that's kind of all the right backs. Just wanted to kind of show you those. Again, we are going to go to the projects in a second. Let me see what else there is that I wanted to show you. I think that's it. Let's go into this. I do have a lot of examples, and I'll show those to you once we've gone through the projects. Because for some people, they may not think it relates to them, when it comes to projects or construction. But really, the whole idea is that it's a visual tool, like I said, and you can really leverage it for, say, manufacturing, distribution, what have you. Very easy to do. So once I've logged into this and I'm connecting, I'm going to show you the dashboard that's on the front. And like I said, I have other examples I will show later on. And here's the dashboard. So for those that are in construction or using projects, this is something you can definitely relate to. So again, what is this? This is your viewpoint, what you're going to look at to kind of where you might want to act on when you kind of are doing your day-to-day. So again, within here, you can see you've got all these, project status, gross profit. You can slice and dice any of this information that you want. This is going by, managing directors. If you wanted to flip this on its head, you can do this for inventory as well. I have an example I will show for that. Again, it just depends on what information you're looking to grab. But again, you can filter this out. So maybe you have this for, different companies, different branches, divisions, departments. It's very easy to kind of put that in within this dashboard in order to collect that information. So this is kind of the front end of it, but kind of the thing that drives everything would be Velixo underneath. So let's just say you have this information. So for those people that are using projects or construction, you could have all your portfolio managers within here. Very easy to do. You could split them up. You could have them split up so they have their managers and then, whichever salespeople are associated with that as well. And then you could see, again, what entities are here. Are they doing well? Are they making money? Very easy to do. You could also do this for like manufacturing, where you could have maybe different products that you're looking at, different products, sub-products that you have, and to see how things are going in terms of budgets and things of the sort. Again, you can have within here different invoices, so outstanding invoices. This is really handy in the sense that this is a project report. So again, I can use drop-down menus within here, select whatever I like. It's going to refresh very, very quickly. And for this particular instance, you have all of this within here. But then as you scroll down, you're getting visibility into kind of what the budget is and then maybe the labor that's involved. So again, this could be for products, say for manufacturing, where you can actually go through and say, like, we have all these different products. How is everything going? How have we budgeted this for, the packaging costs, things of the sort. You can have that all detailed within here. You can have WIP within here as well. Just an example, cost over time, simple things to put together. Again, you can have drop-down menus within here. And then this is the key, the project forecast. So you could do this for whatever, forecasting that you'd like to do. If it's not related to projects or construction, you could do that with budgets as well, where you can have the drop down menus. It could be related to it. So this is showing the description here. I can then go into that restaurant, it changes, and then I have the ability to understand what's going on with the business. Am I getting, say, affected by, lumber costs, concrete costs, wiring, all, everything that can be involved with getting the job done. And that could be also, again, reflected in terms of, manufacturing, distribution, whatever you're working with. So that's kind of the overall grand scheme of how you can bring together, large amounts of data into kind of a simplistic report. You could then distribute this as you see fit to the parties that be, and maybe even shareholders and things of the sort. So you could actually just send it as a PDF if they needed to see what's going on. Again, the options are limitless for you. I'm going to show you just a couple quick ones within here. I think we're still got a little bit of time here. We're doing okay. I went fast. And let's do this one. So this is just an example of how you could do inventory as well. So you can see you can have all this kind of laid out. Again, it's just an example. You can put in whatever regions that you like within there. You have that ability to slice and dice to get the information that you do need at your fingertips. You also have the ability to have, let's see, one more that I wanted to show you. I think this is the sales one. There is my slow workbook. Okay, let's see if this works. If it doesn't pop up, we can actually save it for later if it pops up in a sec. But I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover today. I did go quite fast because I wanted to make sure that there was time for questions, but I also wanted to show you a lot of information. What we will be sending out to you, though, we do have a nice little kind of goodie bag for you if you do want to see more in terms of samples, templates. Everything that I've shown is available for you, so you can actually have a look at it later if you do want to see, say, that project report that I did have with the dashboard. And then all those sample reports that I did show as well, those are also available. So that's it. I'm done talking for right now, unless there's questions.
Yeah, if you have any last minute questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we can go ahead and address them. Otherwise, I know we have a couple here that we can answer.
Sure.
I guess, Jeremy, one question is, can users still use Excel the same way they did in the past, even with the Velixo add-in?
Absolutely. So to make sure this is crystal clear, coming back from my background in crystal reports, that was my bad attempt at a joke today. So it's early in Vancouver. So if I go up into this connection manager, you'll notice I have this connected. So that's connected to Excel. Sorry, to Acumatica. So if I remove this, this is just plain Excel now. But you won't have that connection to the data that you do have.
Perfect. We had another question come into the queue here. In terms of data visualization, does using Velixo affect when connecting to Tableau?
So it is different, of course, than Tableau because it's not, like, in terms of connection, it's not going to, actually, that's a good question. How are you thinking it's going to be affected by Tableau? I guess is the question I have. Because if it's going to be connected with this, it's going to have the Velixo functions within there. Is it more the manipulation? Actually, maybe I'll check to see on that one. I'm going to double check on that one. It shouldn't matter because you can have it exported as Excel if you wanted to. to then put it into Tableau, and then it should be fine. So you'd have probably two options with that if you want to do that.
Perfect.
So yeah, so the importing the data from Excel to Tableau, does the Velixo coding affect that? It's so you have the option to always go back on the fact that you can take out Velixo functions if you wanted to, but it's not going to. Again, I think it's the functions itself that I think you're concerned with. So you want to be able to keep it the same and see if it would actually affect it. So I'll double check that one. I think that's what your question is. You don't want to just change things up. You just want to leave it as is. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Another one, do you have the ability to consolidate data, and how would you do this?
Sure. So you can absolutely do that. So it just really depends on what you're looking to consolidate. So with any of these ones that I've shown you within here, I'll just show it to you so you can see it. So you can go in within here and actually, I'll show you a better example just because it's got more information. It's dying on here. Hold on. I'm locked out of my Excel. So how I would do it is you could just do drop down menus like I showed before. So you could have it where you've got like your branches, divisions, departments, whatever you want to do, you can do and access. What it comes down to is, do you have it in Acumatica and you have that set up in your accounting structure? As long as you have that, you can access it.
Perfect. Awesome. I think that's all we have in the queue at this point. I don't know if you want to transition back to the slide, Jeremy, and we can do a little bit of a wrap up here.
Absolutely, I can do that. My computer will work. Can you see that or not?
Yeah, I think we're seeing your other screen here. Presenter mode, maybe.
Well, I'm glad I'm having computer issues at the very end. There we go.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us today. We have a couple of wrap-up items. First, you'll see different ways you can contact us. So if you liked what you saw within this webinar, you're interested in using Velixo, feel free to reach out via those emails listed below. And then Velixo's information is also listed at the very bottom as well. In terms of our webinar series, you can view all of our past webinars on our YouTube channel under SVA Consulting Acumatica webinars. And then be sure to tune in to our next webinar, which will be October 9th. And that will really be walking through the Acumatica's 2024 R2 release and upgrades. Those are all the housekeeping and wrap-up items on our side. Jeremy, anything to add on the Velixo side?
No, but if you do need any help at all, of course, SVA can be the direct contact for that. And then if you do need any demos or anything of the sorts or any additional information, we can provide that for you to get started. Thanks, everyone.
Perfect. Thank you all. Have a good day.